Welcome to Experiment 8 Waveform with adjustable frequency. Connect the alligator clip to the ground of the board and connect the probe tip to the oscillator output, that is test pin 9. Now let's have a look at our oscilloscope screen. So adjust the trimmers so that you get a similar waveform on the screen. We have selected 10 milliseconds per division and 2 volts per division. If everything is correct, then you get a nice and steady waveform on the screen. Now if we switch the unit to ground, our waveform will disappear, and if we switch it back again to DC coupling, the waveform will reappear and will be totally steady, as you can see. The trigger circuit is responsible for this steady waveform, so now we're going to adjust the trigger level. As you can see, there's a small gap on the left hand side of the waveform where the waveform starts on the screen. That's the trigger symbol. Now if we use the arrow keys, we can move up and down this small gap, and as you can see, the waveform changes accordingly. So the place where the unit starts drawing the waveform changes. This is called the trigger point, and if we move this trigger point below the waveform, then the waveform is no longer steady, because it's no longer triggering on a fixed point. So in order to get a stable waveform, we adjust the trigger level. There is one more thing that we can do. This is the trigger level, but we can also change the trigger slope. If we go back to our menu and we select slope, then we get a different symbol. We get the slope symbol, so it's either a rising edge or a falling edge, and if we use the arrow keys, we can toggle between rising edge or falling edge, and you can see that the waveform is adapted according to the setting.